All right. Hey guys, Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Stalta. So the Stalta is a primary assault rifle. It's going to have some innate punch through that the weapon actually comes with. So my prime shred here, it increases punch through by 2.2, but as you can see here, the punch through is 3.4. So it actually has a little bit of punch through that it comes with, which is kind of nice. The other thing is it has an alternate fire mode that shoots out a kind of like a grenade launcher-ish kind of a weapon. Um, and it causes like a big radiation explosion. So, and to get the maximum DPS out of the Stalta, you're actually going to need to kind of mix both modes. A lot of times, like where weapons will have an alternate fire that's kind of weak, or maybe the primary fire is kind of weak, and so you only use the alternate fire. Um, This weapon, to get the max DPS, you are going to want to mix both modes. You are going to want to use the primary fire, like assault rifle, and then you're going to want to be using the radial attack when you have a large group of enemies in front of you. So, okay, let's get into the build here. So we're going to go with galvanized chamber for multi-shot. We're going to go with galvanized scope for crit chance. Prime shred for fire rate and punch through. Serration for flat damage, and there's a few options for this slot, and I'll go over that at the end. Critical delay and vital sense for crit chance, crit damage. Malignant force and cold mod. I use prime cryo rounds. You could use a 60-60 also to make viral. And if you're playing Whispers content, just remember that enemies in Whispers content are resistant and immune to viral. So instead of viral, you would want to switch to corrosive for Whispers content. Primed rifle ammo mutation for ammo pickup. This weapon does struggle a little bit with ammo, so this will help you greatly with it. In the arcane slot, you have two good options. You have primary deadhead and primary merciless. Both of them are going to give you 360% flat damage, with the difference being this will give you a little bit more headshot multiplier and a little bit less weapon recoil, and the other one will give you a little bit more reload speed. Reload speed is going to be useful for this weapon, so that's why merciless is pretty competitive with primary deadhead. So it's kind of up to you what you would rather have. Okay, now let's go over the serration slot here. There's a few options. Serration is the most basic option. It works all the time. You get a little bit of an extra damage with it. Not really much else to say about serration. So the other options are going to be galvanized aptitude. Galvanized aptitude will perform better than serration on enemies that take like more than like 2 or 3 shots to kill. You'll get more out of galvanized aptitude than you would serration, just because you're going to, at that point you will have had multiple stacks of statuses on the enemy, and you'll be getting quicker viral stacks, which makes the enemies weaker. So on enemies that are a little bit bigger, like Eximuses, galvanized aptitude is going to be better than serration. Now, the weakness to galvanized aptitude is that it does not work on AoE weapons or radial attacks. And so, yes, on bigger enemies, this will be better, like with the regular assault rifle mode, but you're going to get pretty much zero effect out of this with the radial attack mode. And that's why it's an option, and especially like I'm going to be playing this using both modes, but when you watch this gameplay, if you're like, I don't really want to be using the alternate fire, I'm just going to use it as an assault rifle, then galvanized aptitude would be a really good option over serration. But I'm going to use both modes, and because of that, galvanized aptitude is not really going to be an option for me. The other one is going to be Hunter Munitions. Now, this is kind of the opposite of Galvanized Aptitude. Hunter Munitions is going to give you a really great effect on the radial attack, because the slash procs you get out of Hunter Munitions are based on the damage of the weapon. And so the damage you produce with the radial attack is gigantic here. And so you're going to get gigantic slash procs, and they're going to like kill it. If the explosion doesn't kill an enemy, that slash proc is going to immediately kill him. But kind of like the opposite with Galvanized Aptitude, Hunter Munitions is going to have a way reduced effect with the Assault Rifle mode. So, yes, you're still going to crit with the Assault Rifle mode, but it's going to be much smaller crits. So you're going to get these like little piddly slash procs that you're not even really going to notice much, damage coming out of them. And so Hunter Munitions is a little bit of a better option than Galvanized Aptitude, but it still kind of suffers from the same thing, where it's really good in one mode and kind of crappy in the other mode. And then the other option for that Serration slot is going to be Bladed Rounds. This is one of the more, the stronger options. So Bladed Rounds is just going to give you more crit damage. That's going to be great for this weapon. I'm going to pick Serration just because you're going to be switching between the regular fire and the alternate fire modes, and so I'm going to be losing a few stacks of galvanized scope, and so it's just going to help with the ramp up back into galvanized scope stacks. But Bladed Rounds is it's super close with Serration. If you were to do the math, I wouldn't be surprised if Bladed Rounds was even over Serration for damage. But I'm going to keep Serration because it's just going to help me a little bit more on ramping back up into Galvanized Scope. So those are 4 options for this one slot. And all that being said, this is also probably just going to be your Riven slot. So if you do get a Riven with this weapon, you don't really have to make all those crazy decisions. You could just plop a Riven right over here and be good. So, okay. So that is that for the build. Now, in this series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I go test the weapon on its own merits in Steel Path, meaning I don't like to mix the weapon with any kind of external factors. No Warframe abilities that increase damage, no pet abilities that increase damage, nothing that's increasing statuses on things, anything like that. And because of that, we're going to be using an Inaros Prime with no Archon shards. We're going to be... we have no mods or arcanes that affect weapon damage. On the pet's not going to have a sentinel weapon, and the pet itself has no mods that affect weapon damage. So we're going to do 10 minutes in Kuva Survival in Steel Path, kill some trash, kill some acolytes, and then we'll do about a 10-minute Lua Conjunction where enemies are just a little bit stronger.
Scans show Grenier are harvesting.
So I'm going to cast my 4 here to double my armor, and that'll be the last time I use an ability.
Then steal their Kuva catalysts. Predictable. As expected, Grenier have shut down environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or...
So once we get our galvanized scope stacks up, we'll be at orange-ish crits. It's not going to be pure orange. It's going to be, a few yellows here and there. And I think we can also see a few reds as well. Okay. So this is the rifle mode. Once I start seeing large groups of enemies, when I go for a mag reload, I'm going to shoot that, and it's going to kill them like that. Now I'm going to go for a reload, and I'm going to go back into the rifle mode. And it's because I need to charge up galvanized scope. Without a full stack of galvanized scope, that radial mode is not going to be producing orange and red crits. It's going to be producing yellow crits. And it's not really going to be one-shotting a lot of enemies because of it. And so, right here, I'm going to go into this radial attack, bam. I'm going to shoot another radial, bam. And then I go to reload again. And then back into the rifle mode. And that's how you get the most out of the Stahlta, because if you're only going to use the rifle mode in the Stahlta, it's just kind of like a basic average assault rifle. There's not really much else to it. I mean, I guess it does have a little bit of punch through compared to other assault rifles. But there's not really much else to the Stahlta otherwise. So by mixing the alternate fire mode, you actually use the Stahlta to its full potential. But only using the alternate fire is also not a good thing because, like I said, you can't get orange and red crits with it. You can only get white, not white, yellow crits, which a lot of times won't kill, won't one-shot enemies. And that's these enemies, which are 132. Like, these are lower steel path enemies. So you definitely want to be getting to orange and red crits with the alternate fire. Like right here, I'm going to go for all fire. The alternate fire takes 20 ammo for each shot, so you're going to get 2 alt fires per magazine. So I'm going to dump this mag here, and then I'm going to look for the group that I'm going to shoot the alt at, which is going to be right here. Maybe another group. And then go back right into the assault rifle. Get it back up to oranges, get my galvanized scope stacks, because while you're in that alt fire mode, you're likely going to lose like 1 or 2 galvanized scope stacks. So that's kind of the rotation with this weapon, basically. You get your galvanized scope stacks up, and then when you go for a reload, you're going to alt fire. This weapon does struggle against Eximuses. Both the regular rifle mode and the alt fire don't really do too well against them. I guess the alt fire does okay. So, but yeah, both modes don't do great against Eximuses. Now the alternate fire does really good against Acolytes. You'll see when the Acolyte comes, it'll do massive damage against the Acolyte. Staggered myself there. So I'm going to go over to the life supports, probably hit 1 or 2 of them. And then the Acolyte should be spawning pretty soon. And we'll take care of the Acolyte. And we'll use the alternate fire on him. I will use the regular mode a little bit, just to show you like the damage it does. The regular mode does not do very good damage against the Acolyte. I mean, you can use it to kill the Acolyte, it's just going to be painful. But alternate fire mode does amazing against it. Galvanized scope's gonna reload, and then bam, bam. All right, here comes the Acolyte. Let's make sure our scope stacks are up. Get some headshots. I'm going to go for my reload here. So that's 1. Kind of staggered myself there. 2. So the second shot kind of missed the Acolyte. I'm going to get some scope stacks back up, and then when I go to reload, put another shot into the Acolyte here. So 3 shots, 3 alternate fires. It's not too bad. I probably could have did that in 2 alternate fires if I aimed a little bit better. It was a little bit more like in the peripheries of the AoE. I haven't had any ammo issues since we've done this, though. Now, the alternate fire cannot generate its own galvanized scope stacks. And to get the most effect out of galvanized scope, when you go to shoot the alternate fire, you should still be aimed in. That way, you're still getting all those the crit chance buffs. You shouldn't be like shooting it while you're hip fired. You could tell with the radial attacks, when you start seeing the radials be yellow crits, you know that I didn't really go into that radial attack with full galvanized scope. You know, and it's not horrible. You'll still get a shitload of damage out of it. It's just that to get those orange and reds, you're going to want to get a few stacks of galv scope first, like right here. Staggered there. Alright, so we're at 9 minutes, 30 seconds. At 10 minutes, we'll see where we are for our kill count. When I do these tests, like very average weapons usually hit at about like 350 to 400 kills. I would consider this an average weapon. I don't think this is like a... it's not competitive with like the meta weapons of the game, but it is still a good weapon. It's a good average weapon, and it has a little bit of like utility. You know, you can use the alternate fire and the regular mode. So I'm at 586 kills, which is well above average actually. Now we're gonna make our way over to extraction, but if the second acolyte comes, we'll kill him. There's extraction right there. So 586. So after this one, we're going to queue up a Lua Conjunction for 10 minutes. And we'll see how it does there. Enemies in Lua Conjunction are going to be a little bit stronger. They're going to be 180 to 200. And they're going to be mixed enemies. They won't just all be Grineer. Another thing to consider with like this playthrough here is that I don't have any forms of armor strip. And these were all Grineer enemies. So even with no armor strip, like that's how it was performing, which is pretty decent. Again, not amazing. It's not going to like compete with like the Torrid Incarnate or anything like that, but it's going to do decent at least. Okay. Going to queue up that Lua Conjunction. Now, something about the Lua Conjunction is at the 5-minute mark, we're going to get Thraxes and usually the Acolyte at about the same time. So weapons that struggle with like Eximuses and Thraxes will sometimes fail at that 5 minutes. So this weapon could very well fail at the 5-minute mark, just because that is its weakness. Is
Beacon Neural Sentry is
Thraxes and Eximuses. Not so much Acolytes, but Thraxes and Eximuses. Oh, I'm going to cast my 4 here to double my armor, and then that'll be the last ability I use. Make my way over to this life support. Try to bring the enemies slowly over. Dealing with the spawns in Lua Conjunction is kind of annoying sometimes. They take a very long time to move around the map, and you won't get new spawns until the current ones are dead. So if you move too quickly around the map, you might not see enemies for a very long time. So good opportunity down here for an alt fire. Probably throw another one at the top of the stairs here. It's a good spot right here for an alt fire.
If you have a necromech, this would be an excellent place to deploy it.
So most weapons that have like you know, 2 very different firing modes, like, you know, an explosive mode and a rifle mode, usually they don't pair very well with each other. This one though does pair quite well. So I'm going to hit this life support here. Probably hit a few of them actually. This weapon doesn't kill amazingly fast, so I'm probably going to be a little bit life support starved. That's why I might fail on that 5-minute mark with the Thraxes. We'll see. Doesn't help him getting my weapons stolen. Kill this guy before he steals it again. Oof, I hit the tree. That wasn't good. Wasted one of my alt fires there. Alright, so here comes the Acolyte, which is actually really good because we get to fight him separately from the Thraxes. I'm going to hit this life support up here before he spawns. Go down there, kill some little guys, get our scope stacks up. Where is he?
Oculists, if they scan you, sentient fighters won't be far behind. Sentient has detected you. Fighters incoming.
Alright, we're going to get Thraxes pretty soon. Got to get this guy dealt with here. He's dead. Thraxes are coming.
The longer you hold out, the deeper I can search. But if you need to leave, extraction is ready. Tenno, the void has summoned a new presence and it craves our life support. Destroy these manifestations.
You can see it does not very good damage against the Thraxes. Even the alternate fire. Now, in regular gameplay, you might have a second weapon that would deal well with like Eximuses and Thraxes. But for the purposes of this playthrough, we're just using the Stahlta. Yeah, so probably the end of the Stalta right here with these Thraxes. I'm going to still kill them, but then we'll head to Extract after that. So the Stalta, it failed on the first set of Thraxes, and it's just because of its weakness against, not so much Acolytes, does very well against Acolytes, but its weakness against Eximuses and Thraxes. All right, so we'll head out. So 6 minutes, we're at 253 kills. It's to be expected to have like less kills in Lua Conjunction just because you spend more time fighting with bigger enemies like Thraxes. But I had a feeling the Stalta might fail here on 5 minutes. So we'll go to Extraction, and then we'll go over the build one more time for the Stalta.
Your will was greater. This is good.
All right. So Stalta, it's a primary assault rifle. It's got an alternate fire that shoots out a kind of like a grenade launcher that does radiation damage. It comes with innate punch through. So this says 3.4, but my prime shred gives 2.2. So if you're decent at math, which I'm not, I believe that's 1.4-ish punch through. I think it comes with innate, which is pretty good. I mean, most weapons don't come with any punch through, so that's pretty cool for the Stalta to have that. And then, you know, the radial attack mode does a lot of damage down here. So, all right. So the build for the Stalta is going to be Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Galvanized Scope for crit chance, Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through, Serration for flat damage. There's a few other options for the Serration slot. We'll go over them at the end. Critical Delay and Vital Sense for crit chance, crit damage. And Malignant Force and a cold mod for viral. You can use any cold mod, preferably either the 60/60 or the primed. Not the one in between is kind of not good enough to increase your damage and doesn't have any status chance to it. So you either go full primed cryo or you just go with the 60/60 cryo. Prime Rifle Ammo Mutation to increase ammo supply, just because it does have kind of a crappy ammo supply. And then you can either go with Primary Deadhead or Primary Merciless. Both are going to increase your flat damage by 360%. Deadhead's going to give you a little bit more headshot multiplier and less weapon recoil, and Merciless is going to let you reload a little bit quicker. So both have good options and good reasons to use either one. So that's kind of like a personal taste thing. Now, into the Serration slot here, there's a few options. There's Galvanized Aptitude. It's a good option, however, it does not affect the radial mode. So this will make the direct fire mode, the rifle mode, a bit stronger, especially dealing with Thraxes and Eximuses, but will have zero effect on the radial attack mode. The other option is Hunter Munitions, and that's going to be basically the opposite of Galvanized Aptitude, where this will be really, really good on the radial attack mode. But on the assault rifle mode, not so much. The slash procs you're going to be producing in the assault rifle mode are going to be small and piddly. They're not really going to be like, you're almost not going to even notice the damage that comes out of them. Whereas Hunter Munitions in the alternate fire mode, you're going to get these gigantic slash procs that one-shot enemies. So Hunter Munitions is like the opposite of Galvanized Aptitude, where that's really good for the assault rifle mode. Hunter Munitions is really good for the alt fire mode. I'm not going to go with either because I use both of the modes on this weapon. So the other option is Bladed Rounds. So Bladed Rounds and Serration are like pretty close to each other. If you were to do the math, Bladed Rounds probably beats out Serration, but because you're switching often between like doing the alt fires and the assault rifle mode, sometimes you're going to be losing like a few stacks of critical or galvanized scope. And so that's going to be like reducing your crit tier. And when you have a reduced crit tier, then crit damage does less for you. And so Serration is going to help me get into the higher crit tiers a little bit quicker. Both are still really good. And if you did the math, Bladed Rounds might actually come out over Serration. But all that being said, this is also your Riven slot. So if you don't want to think too much about it, you could just plop Serration here. And when you get a Riven, you take it off anyway and put the Riven there. So that is the build for the Stahlta. It's pretty good. It's average. You saw it performed above average in Kuva Survival, and it definitely performed below average in Lua Conjunction, and that was because of the Thraxes. They really thrashed us. So, yeah, that's the Stahlta build. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked the video, give it a like, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much.